The air is crisp, the pumpkins are being spiced, the skeleton wars are beginning, and artists everywhere are breaking out their inks. Or are they? Hey everyone, it's Madam Berry, and even though everyone seems to be jumping ship from Inktober this year, I'm here with all this paper and all these inks that I purchased months ago when I was getting way too excited about things way too early. So, whether the drawing challenge this year is called Inktober or something else entirely, I'm still gonna use ink because, goddammit, I'm gonna use these inks. Did you also get super excited for Inktober only to have all of that squashed when the controversy started unfolding? Because this is awkward. But I'm not doing the official Inktober prompt list this year. No, I've made my own prompt list with a cyberpunk twist. I started working on this prompt list back in August and spent a long time curating it with the help of some friends. I have a link to the prompt list in image and plain text formats in the description if you want to join too, and I'd love to see your artworks if you use this. Tag me at Madam Berry on Twitter or Instagram, or use the Cyberpunktober hashtag so that I can see them all. But while I work on day one of my Cyberpunktober prompt, I want to talk about why I chose the cyberpunk themes and how I'm approaching the genre, as well as talking about the painting process itself. Day one of this list is neon, which wasn't intentional given that I'm using neon inks for this series. By the way, stick around until the end to see this painting under blacklight. These inks fluoresce. Given that I'm using neon ink, and neon is such a prevailing theme in cyberpunk media, I actually struggled a bit with this prompt. I had kind of decision paralysis. But I ended up with this somewhat simple composition of a person exiting between double doors. I mostly wanted to play with the way that strong lighting affects darker skin tones. Side note, I wish there were more drawing reference photo packs with people with darker skin tones. So many artist reference packs are predominantly white, and it's really unfortunate. The best that I could find is models on Pinterest, and I'm not sure what the licensing behind those photos are, so I'm wary of using those as photo reference for finished artworks unless I'm going to heavily modify the piece. Plus, it's just easier to find exactly what you need when you have a photographer who's taken literally hundreds of photos of the same subject in different poses and in different lighting, like you would find in an artist reference photo pack. So photographers, get on that crap. So I'm sure you've been hearing a ton about the new Cyberpunk 2077 game that's due to release the next month. And to be clear, this list is not affiliated with that game at all. I don't think my PC could even run it, but it's got me thinking about the genre a lot lately because it holds a dear place in my heart. I think a lot of cyberpunk fans are quick to call out those people who see cyberpunk as nothing more than the high-tech, gritty, neon-laced facade and don't look deeper into its ethos, its politics, its stark warnings for futures to come. And I absolutely agree with that call-out. There's more to be explored within the genre than a lot of the surface-level media wants to explore. And to that end, I'm actually pretty highly critical of what I've seen of 2077 so far, but as far as that's concerned, I'm withholding judgment for now. But I also just really love me some grungy neon aesthetic with its high contrast and its punchy colors and its juxtaposition of blown out flashy signs on a dimly lit street and the bloom lighting and the digital interfaces bleeding out into physical reality. It just looks so good, and I want to draw all of it. But as much as I love the aesthetic though, I want to explore what makes cyberpunk really shine in my heart. You know, besides all of the literal glowing everything. Much of cyberpunk that you still see today is built upon the classical foundation works like Blade Runner, Neuromancer, etc. And at the time, the prevailing motifs that you saw, where cities are a blend of modern technological architecture and Japanese street aesthetics, sprung from a mixture of fear and fetishization of Japan becoming a dominating world power. You also had the elements of transhumanism and biotechnology, but it was at a time when transgender rights weren't really at a point of discussion. So many of the characters in formative cyberpunk media are cis, presumably straight males. It isn't until more modern additions to the genre coming out within the last few years that I've really seen characters of marginalized genders in cyberpunk media in the context of a transhumanist narrative. Though I admit my pool of knowledge is a bit limited, so if you have any recommendations, drop them in the comments. I eat this genre up like dessert. And I'm not saying everyone has to be trans in a cyberpunk setting, but I don't think you can justify a universe where people are able to significantly alter their bodies with neural implants and cybernetic enhancements and guns for arms, without acknowledging that people still struggle today to change their physicality to affirm their own genders. My favorite cyberpunk media today are the ones that build upon the genre's foundations, but adapt the prevailing themes to fit the struggles that people face in our current day and age. Hyperinflation, gentrification, hypercapitalism, racial justice, gender politics, body image, accessibility, etc. I love the tightly focused narratives where you're able to explore not just what it means to be human, but also what it means to live in that kind of a world. So with this series of ink paintings, I want to blend the classic aesthetics that I love with that almost slice of life lived in world. At the heart of cyberpunk is the ethos of positive social change via dissent and defiance. In a world that has no empathy for its inhabitants, the punks are the ones aggressively caring for one another, and lifting those up who can't uplift themselves. The ones planting trees in corporate landfills or playing unlicensed street jazz. The kind-hearted shopkeepers, the underground librarians. The ones that make the world enriching and lived in. Because cool action protagonists aren't the only people in a cyberpunk setting. Please give this video a like for me, it really helps tell YouTube that they should put it in more people's feeds, and hit subscribe if you haven't yet. I'm making Cyberpunktober videos all month long, and I don't want you to miss out. Until next time, take care.